A game parlor and a cartridge. Refreshments not included. This is Sega Masters. We're a third of the way into 1988, and all we've been fed so far is a steady diet of mediocre to disappointing arcade-style cartridges. So it is a little refreshing to finally have something different on tap for today's episode. We're looking at Parlor games, a multi-game compilation developed by Compile and known in Japan as Family Games. Yes, Sega was hoping to attract consumers with this cart that offers games the whole family of all ages can enjoy together. Though what ages this game is really targeting is thrown into question by the slightly provocative women on the menu screens. Regardless, as the name suggests, Parlor games centers around amusements often enjoyed in bars or family lounges. And Sega wouldn't be the only one to use this tactic. Whenever the gaming publishers release supposed party games, more often than not they always feature simulations of lounge-lizard sports, such as billiards, darts, and so forth. In fact, pool simulations were already beginning to appear on the NES in late 1987, starting with Data East Side Pocket and FCI's Lunar Pool, so Sega decided to do one better for their console. Parlor Games features 3 simulations of these pastimes, each of which can have up to 4 human players competing. We'll take a look at Billiards first. Sega Sim offers 4 variations, as well as a computer opponent for solo mode, though you can play alone as well. After you make your selections, you step up to the table and use your cue stick to hit the 10 solid-colored billiard balls into the pockets. The control method is rather simple to understand. You use this aiming cursor to direct your shot, then set the power meter on the top of the screen, and watch your avatar shoot the cue ball into action. You can also position the spot where you strike the cue ball, adding some English to your shot if you will. Successfully hitting a colored ball into a pocket will allow you to continue your turn, otherwise the next player gets his shot. The basic game has you going back and forth until someone reaches the winning score that you choose, even if you have to play multiple racks. Other billiards options include rotation, 9-ball, and the 2-player only 5-ball. However, don't look for any of the video game-esque features that often populate other video pool sims. Sega's take is straight up billiards as you may have seen in real life, including rules and penalties for incorrect shots. That said, it is well put together for the most part. The easy to understand controls allow anyone to pick up and play without too much trouble, and the CPU opponent provides a good yet fair challenge, though playing against human friends is probably far more enjoyable. The colorful graphics consist of just the pool table and the shooter, but still do their job with some smooth animation for the balls in motion. The background tunes in each mode sound pleasant at first, but do tend to get a little repetitive. Next we have darts. A few variations are offered for this game mode as well, each with a few options of their own to choose from, right down to the weight of the dart. Like billiards, this is a standard simulation of the sport where you're throwing darts at a regulation dartboard, including the multiplier rings and the bullseye. The control method for this mode seems convoluted at first. After positioning your character, you hold down button 2 to charge your power meter, then release it, before hitting 2 again to pick the release point with the moving red cursor and watch your dart fly. It takes a bit of practice to get down, but once you do, you won't have too much trouble hitting the dartboard. After your 3 throws, the second player takes his turn, and oddly enough uses the exact same avatar as player 1. The programmers didn't even do a palette swap or anything. It's like this is a battle of twin brothers, or even triplets or quadruplets with more players. Anyway, the standard modes have you trying to score a certain amount of points, either 301 or 501, though you have to accumulate the exact amount without going over or you bust. You also have round the clock where you try to hit areas 1 through 10 in sequence, and double down, which has you hitting spots in a certain order. Just like billiards, Sega's darts is a solid simulation of the sport and pretty enjoyable once you get the hang of the controls. The CPU opponent is formidable but still beatable, though once again playing with friends is more fun. Also like Billiards, the visuals are minimal but still colorful and serve their purpose. However, the annoying background music isn't something you want to listen to for a long period. Finally, there's World Bingo, because the Japanese game companies just love their bingo simulators, though this one adds in a little gambling for whatever reason. When you begin, you place a bet which activates a feature block on your bingo card, and the more money you put up, the more feature blocks you activate. Once all the players have thrown down their bets, you pull the arm in the slot machine that draws your number. After each turn, you can rotate the numbers on your card in each of the feature blocks you bet on. Then you get your next number from the slot machine. And this goes on for a number of turns. The goal is to get as many numbers of one line on the bingo card as possible in order to win more money and more tries. So it's no surprise World Bingo is the worst of the three games, as all you do is pull the arm in the slot machine and hope for the best. Any success in this event depends entirely on luck instead of skill, resulting in a pretty boring experience. At least the music is somewhat catchy. Altogether, Parlor Games is a fairly competent compilation for the most part, with solid presentation throughout, including some well-drawn ending screens. The only real issue is that your enjoyment will mainly depend on how much you like any of these amusements in real life. If you aren't a fan of any of these featured games, this cart won't do anything to convert you. Plus, it won't be long before some repetition sets in, even with all the options available, and this cart certainly pales in comparison to the more modern sims for the current systems. Not to mention World Bingo just doesn't belong on a game cartridge. You'll be wishing Compile scrubbed it in favor of a more entertaining game room contest, like an air hockey sim or something. So while Parlor Games doesn't score a bullseye, it'll entertain you for a while, especially with 2 or more players involved. At the very least, it's better than half the games we've seen on the Master System thus far.